Hello, this is Zach from iCodeTeacher.com. Today we're going to go over how to record using the iPhone. It's going to be a pretty basic app. We're just going to have a record and a playback button. So let's go ahead and get started by opening up Xcode. Go to File, New Project, View-Based Application, and I'm going to go ahead and call this Record. Now, in order to record using the iPhone, Apple has made a very simple framework. It's AV Foundation. It's not only used to record, but you can also do multiple things with audio, such as just playing audio in general on the iPhone, looping audio, etc. So let's go ahead and import the proper frameworks that we need to get started. I'm going to expand my frameworks folder, and I'm going to right-click and go to Add Existing Frameworks. And I'm going to add the audio toolbox, hit Command to add another framework here, and I'm going to click on AV Foundation. Go ahead and click Add, make sure they pop up here under the Frameworks folder, and once you see that you're here, you're good to go. So let's go ahead and expand our classes group here, and I'm going to go ahead and edit record viewcontroller.h. Now, the first thing that we need to do under viewcontroller.h is we need to import those frameworks into code. So I'm just going to simply put in import AV Foundation. Sometimes it automatically fills it in for you. And I'm also going to put import audio toolbox.h. And there you go. Now we're going to have a few instance variables that I'm going to make below here. Two important ones are the AV audio recorder and the AV audio player, both which are part of the AV Foundation class. And in addition to declaring those instance variables, we're going to also need to set their delegates as part of this record view controller class. So we're going to have AV audio recorder delegate, put a comma so we can add another one, and AV audio player delegate. So now that we have those here, we're going to actually also declare these instance variables. So I'm going to make an instance variable of AV audio recorder, and I'm just going to call this recorder, and I'm also going to have one for AV audio player. I'm going to call this player, make sure that's a lowercase, uppercase P, lowercase L. We're also, like I said before, we're going to have two buttons, and we're going to need to modify the text so that when you hit record, the text will change back to stop, so it's not as confusing. So in order to do that, we need to declare an IB outlet of a UI button, and I'm just going to call this play button. And then we're also going to need one for the record button. And then we're also going to need two Boolean values. The Boolean values are going to be for letting us know if there's currently sound playing or if we're currently recording. So we're going to set these to yes when it's appropriate. So I'm going to have is recording and is playing. And then we're going to need two IB actions, one for when you hit the play button, so hit play, and one for when you hit the record button, so hit record. Alright, so we should be good to begin editing our .m now. What we need to do is we need to declare an NS mutable dictionary when the program starts up, and we need to do this because when we allocate an instance of the AV audio recorder, it requires an argument that is an NS mutable dictionary to pass in specific settings about the recording format. We're going to be using all the standard formats, and what I mean by standard is pretty much CD quality audio. So for the general audio format settings, we're going to use 44,100 Hertz. And again, that's standard for CD quality. You can increase it, but I would recommend making sure that you have a right format before you do that. And then the other format that we're going to set values for is linear PCM format. And we're going to use 16 bits, which again is CD quality. Apple will let us use 8 bits, 16 bits, 24 bits, or 32. Obviously, the higher you go, the more quality audio that you're going to get back. Let's go ahead and get this NS mutable dictionary going here. We're going to put this in our awake from nib method here, and we're going to call this NS mutable dictionary. And I'm going to allocate just an instance of this NS mutable dictionary here. And I'm going to put some comments here so you know that this is the general audio format settings. Apple has a lot of these constants already set for us, so we really don't have to mess around with it too much. So I'm going to set the value, which is going to be an NS number. It's an integer, and Apple has made the constant or the class K audio format linear PCM, and this is going to be for the key AV format IDE key. Let's go ahead and just copy this so we don't have to type it all again. We have 3 settings we need to put for the general settings, and then we'll get to the linear PCM. So the second one, instead of a number with an int, is going to be a number with a float, and we're going to set this to 44,100. And again, this is going to be representing the hertz, and this is going to be the AV sample rate. So AV sample rate key. Now, the last one that we need to do, it's going to be a number with int, so we're good there. We're just going to set that to 2, and this is going to be the number of channels. So they have a key already predefined for us here, AV number of channels key. Now let's go ahead and just copy all of this so again we don't have to type. And for the comments, this is going to be the linear PCM format settings. And again, this is what Apple recommends that we use, so we're going to go ahead and use that. I'm going to go ahead and type in the comments here the different types of bit qualities that you can use. We've got 8, 16, 24, or 32. Now, just so you know what we're talking about here with the quality-wise, again, 16 bits is CD quality, and 24 bits is what they use on professionally made DVDs. So I don't know what kind of quality you're looking for here, but that just gives you an example of what we're working with here. So let's go ahead and get this set. Again, we're going to set value, which is going to be an int, to 16, because we want it to be 16 bits, just typical CD quality. And we're going to use AV linear PCM bit depth key. There we go. And the second one is going to be an NS number, with bool, not a float. So number with bool. And we're just going to say no. And for key is going to be AV linear PCM is big endian key. So linear PCM is big endian key. And the next one is going to be AV linear PCM is float key. AV linear PCM is float key. Alright, so those are our final settings now. Now what we need to do is we need to specify a path that this recording is going to be taking place in. So we can find the current path of the iPhone by declaring an NS array. By default, Apple gives us a class which will return an NS array of all the directories for us. So NS search path directories in domains. Looks like I misspelled it here. NS search path for directories in domains. And it's going to be NS document directory, NS user domain mask, passing all of these in so we can get the right path return, and then yes. Now, we're going to make another NS string called documents directory, and this is going to pull out the very first directory that gets returned to us, and we're going to go ahead and use that. So NS string documents directory equals paths object at index 0. That's the first directory that gets returned to us from the NS array that we created above. And last but not least, we're going to make the path, the final path. So NS string path equals NS string with format, and we're going to have a %and, or a %@ sign, / recording dot CAF, and then documents directory. So what we have here is we're putting this %@ sign, which is basically a variable in this string, and the value of that variable is going to be this documents directory right here. So whatever the path is that gets returned from the documents directory is going to be placed right in here, and therefore our path will be that directory /recording.core audio file. Now, a core audio file is another Apple extension here. It's a lot more compressed, but it still has very good quality. I believe Linear PCM uses a 1:4 compression ratio, which is actually pretty good, and you still have a pretty good sound quality. So we're going to use the core audio file, and what we're going to do next is we just need to declare an NSURL, because when we allocate the AV audio recorder, it wants a type of NSURL. So we're going to have to make this sound file URL equals NSURL file with URL, and then the path, we've already made the path, so we just simply put in path. Alright, so that's a lot of grunt work that we had to do there. Now all we need to do now is we need to allocate the instance of the recorder. So let's go ahead and do that. So recorder equals AV audio recorder allocate init with URL. Again, like I said, when we allocated this, we were going to need the URL. It has to be of type NSURL. If you don't know what types it needs, usually it auto completes it here for you. You can see there it required NSURL, and the next one is an NS dictionary, which is why we made the dictionary above with all the settings and the error. So let's go ahead and put in sound file URL, and now we need settings, which we made as our dictionary, and the error is going to be a reference variable here, and we're going to set that equal to error. So since this error reference could possibly be returned to us, since it's passed by reference, we need to declare an NS error variable here. So we're going to set that to nothing right now, and then if there's an error, it's going to be returned back in this variable here called error, and we're going to need to know what it is. So if there's an error, then let's go ahead and log it just so we know what the error is. So that should show up in the console if there is indeed an error. Now, again, since we set in the viewController.h that there was going to be a delegate for this class file, we're going to need to also set the delegate for this recorder here. So recorder.delegate equals self, and we also need to prepare the recorder to play. So prepare to record, excuse me. So let's also initialize our booleans. So we know it's not recording at this point, and we know nothing is playing at this point. So is recording equals no, and is playing equals no. Let's go ahead and build and just make sure we're error free here. Okay, so we simply just forgot the asterisk here. Go ahead and build again, and we're good to go. Now we need to still import those, so at this point we are looking good. So let's go ahead now, before we build the hit play and the hit record methods here, is let's go ahead and design our interface. So if we go to the resources group and click on record view controller, our view will pop up, and I'm just going to go ahead and place two buttons here. One's going to be to record and one's going to be to play. Kind of stretch these out a bit here. Alright, so I'm going to call this one record. I'm going to call this one play. And if we go to the file's owner here, go to the inspector, we're going to go ahead and drag play button to play and record button to record. This a little bigger here. And now hit play, touch up inside, and hit record, touch up inside, because we want them both to execute when we touch anywhere inside the button. So now let's go ahead and save this and head back to the code here. Let's go ahead and make our IB action, hit record. Now what we want to do is, if it's already playing, then we just want it to go to self hit play, and you'll see why in a second why that makes sense. If it's not recording, then let's go ahead and record. So we just simply hit recorder and record. So that should start recording the audio, and then of course we want to set our boolean is recording equal to yes. And while we're at it, we need to set our record button. We're going to need to set the title to stop, because at this point we've already hit the record button, so we don't want it to say record anymore, we want it to say stop. So we're going to go ahead and make this stop, and for state means for the current state of the button, and we're going to make this a normal state. Now what I mean by state is it could be a highlighted state, or there's a bunch of different states that you can use. For example, we type in UI control state, there's disabled, highlighted, normal, reserved, selected, but again it's all just going to be normal. Go ahead and end the conditional right there. If it is already recording, then we need to set the record button to record. Again, for state, UI control state normal. A lot of typing in this tutorial here. Or UI control state normal. And then we also want to stop it. So basically, if it's not recording, we're going to record it. If it is recording, we're going to stop it. Now we also need to set the boolean here, is recording equals no. And what we need to do now is basically, since we've already recorded a new recording and we've just stopped the recording, the previous player instance is going to have the old recording in it. So if we make a new recording, we want it to overwrite the old recording. So if the current player exists, if there's an instance variable of player, then we want to release it. We want to get rid of it. So I'm going to go player release, and then we're going to need to allocate a new instance of this player right here. So let's go ahead and go to player equals AV audio player. We're going to allocate it, and we're going to initialize it with contents of URL. Make sure that's a lowercase f here. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the URL of the recorder. So we just use recorder.url, and again they have an error instance variable here, or an error reference variable here. So that will let us know if there's any errors going on, and in order to actually get that, we need to declare an instance variable of error here. So I've declared NSError error, and if there is an error, then we want to log it. Alright, and finally, we want to set the player delegate to self, just like we did for the recording, and we want to prepare it to play. So player prepare to play. Now also at this point, we know that it's not playing, so we're going to set is playing equal to no. Alright, so now that we've got the hit record finished, let's go ahead and code what our hit play would be. This is again IB action, hit play. And basically, what we want to do is, if everything is recording, then we want to go to self, hit record. Because basically, if you hit play and it's recording, it's going to stop it. Like I said, you'd understand a little bit easier once we hit once we made the hit play method. So now if it's recording, or I'm sorry, if you hit the record button and it's already playing, it's going to go to self hit play, which is going to come down here, and we're going to eventually make it so if it's playing, it's going to stop. So it's almost like hitting the other button is actually stopping the other action, just to make sure that we don't have two things going on at once, recording and playing at the same time. That can cause some confusion, I'm sure. So now we have if it's not playing, then again, this is going to be very similar to what we did above. We're going to set the play button's title to stop, and then again for state, UI control state normal, and then we want to play the message back. So then we want to set the Boolean value to playing. If it's not playing, then what we need to do is player set title play for state UI control state normal, and we want to stop the player. Now what we also need to do is we need to set the current time of the player equal to 0, just because if we were to hit play again, or well, let's say we hit stop, it doesn't necessarily always go back to the beginning. So we want to make sure that the time goes back to 0 if we hit stop, so that it starts over from the beginning again. And we also need to set is playing equal to no, because at this point we've stopped the player and it's not playing. So let's go ahead and save and make sure our warnings and our errors disappear. Yeah, we've got a little error in there. Oh, this needs to be the play button, not player. Sorry about that. Go ahead and build, make sure there's no errors. We've got one more to deal with. And this needs to be if not is recording. So go ahead and build again, and that should take care of all of our errors. Now let's go ahead and build and go, and we will test it out here. Turn up my volume here. Let's go ahead and hit the record button. This is a recording on the iPhone simulator from mycodeteacher.com. Now hit stop, see it goes back to record. Now let's go ahead and play it. This is a recording on the iPhone simulator from mycodeteacher.com. We hit stop and it goes back to play. Now I'll hit play again and it should start from the beginning. This is a recording on the iPhone simulator from mycodeteacher.com. Now, just to show you that it will discard the old recording, we're going to go ahead and record a second message. This is the second message from mycodeteacher.com's tutorial in the AV Foundation lesson. Now let's go ahead and play it. This is the second message from mycodeteacher.com's tutorial in the AV Foundation lesson. And there you have it. So recording is actually pretty simple. It's a lot of typing, a lot of grunt work, but nothing too challenging, just specifying some paths and when to and when not to record. But other than that, it's pretty easy. You get the hang of it, and it should really enhance the features of your application. It really makes them a lot better, or it really makes your application a lot better by having recording in there, just so that users can interact a little bit more with what you currently offer on your application. So that being said, this is going to conclude my tutorial on recording for the iPhone. My name is Zach from mycodeteacher.com. I'll see you next time.